This is the first day of my couple-day water fast, and I am at home. And earlier today I was at work and, just drank about a liter of water, I think, in total. Up until now, I think, including the last couple of waters. So it's 16 o'clock now, and I'm going to embark on my bike ride to camping grounds very soon because I'm going to spend most of the time, if not, all of the time, camping in my tent. I'm gonna have all the tranquility that I want, and no temptation of any food around. Not if that were a problem, but it's nice to be isolated a little bit. No computer, no distractions, just essentially my bed. I'm planning to embark in about 10 minutes, and it's going to be, about 50 minutes to the camping grounds. So it's going to be my first experience fasting, and I'm very curious how I'm going to feel. My energy levels were pretty decent today, but I can feel that now the blood sugar levels are starting to drop. I'm, keeping in check that I drink enough, but I'm going to take it easy, and I don't think that the exercise is going to be any problem. We're going to see how it goes. See you in the next update. Alright, I've arrived at the camping grounds. I've set myself up, and it's about 17 o'clock now, so I don't plan to do anything spectacular today anymore. My energy levels have been decent. The ride, as I said, was not a problem at all, and I'm just going to go to bed and maybe read a little and go to sleep whenever I want. And I don't plan on leaving the tent really for the next, at least day or two, or maybe even 3, because I got everything I need. Got my water and I got my bed and my e-reader probably, so I'm good. So I'm gonna say good night for today. This is day 2, and I had a good night. I'm feeling pretty solid. I mean, I definitely feel I have a low blood pressure and low blood sugar, so I can definitely feel that I haven't eaten in a long while. But before I get into more of the current state, I would like to reflect on the previous days. Like, in my case, it's not at all the case that I ate normally before, I started fasting now, because it was, today is Wednesday, and exactly a week ago, Wednesday, I had, I think it was about Wednesday that I decided that I'm going to only continue eat the perishables, the fruits and vegetables that I had laying around, and from then on to drink juice as much as I care for until at least Monday. And this was all triggered because I read a book by Douglas Lyle called The Pleasure Trap. And The Pleasure Trap talks about the motivational triad that every biological entity is fundamentally guided by, which is the pursuit of pleasure, the avoidance of pain, and the conservation of energy. And talked about discipline, in regards to health and nutrition, because pursuing pleasure and conserving energy in today's society means, with all that is available to us, means that we tend to eat very calorically dense foods, like especially fatty foods that contain a lot more calories per bite than carbohydrate dominated foods. But the fast foods and the snacks are dominated both by fat and sugar,
very dense, so they give us a lot of pleasure. But the more we eat those foods, if you want to call those foods, and not really just trash, you get accustomed to it, and your whole hormone system, the dopamine that is excreted when you eat pleasurable foods, gets normalized to, what it should usually be at, which means that from that point on, if you then go back to whole natural foods, you're going to feel less pleasure. You're going to feel longing, right, and desiring, even though you're eating healthy. And it's really quite amazing. I mean, for me personally, reading that book was really what I needed in order to start being able to actually have the discipline to fast, right? It takes a lot of discipline. I mean, I'm not doing the supervised. I've known about fasting and the benefits of fasting for many years, but I've never committed to multi-day fasting. I only fasted a day here and there, or ate very, very little for a couple days. And, I'm not a stranger to intermittent fasting, and I regularly did that. The birds are loud here, dude. Wow. And, regularly not eating anything for 18 hours. So I know that there's huge benefits in just abstaining from eating, because it resets your taste buds and clears out your body, and clears out your bloodstream from whatever you've been eating, and enables for greater rest, because the digestive tract usually takes up a significant amount of energy, especially if you eat heavy foods, heavily processed foods and fatty foods. Then of course a lot of energy goes into that, which numbs your emotional capacities, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people fall into this trap of eating heavy and very dense foods. Anyway, so I'm really glad I read that book, and so then I said, I had this plan made out, was eating, some fruits and some veggies and really not much over these days. And then by I think Friday, I started drinking juices, pasteurized juices, which I got for free, quite high quality juices, very tasty. And so I drank quite a few of those, but over the last week I've been by no means consuming adequate calories that would be sustainable long term. I've been normally I eat probably about 2,500 calories a day, and in the last week I've probably averaged, a rough guess, probably somewhere between 650 and 850 calories a day, I would say. And so actually my energy levels have been quite stable. I mean, I've not been exercising heavily, although I have been regularly at work, to which I ride by bike, and it's physical work where I walk around for a couple hours a day, and I've been doing pretty well. And given that I'm not much experienced with fasting, I don't know how this caloric deficit the week previous influences the fast, if that's beneficial, if that's going to make it harder, if that's going to end up, my body not having the resources to rest and heal. And I don't know, but all I know is that I currently very much enjoy laying in my tent. I was comfortable during the night. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna check back in tomorrow probably, and so let's see how it goes. All right, it is day 3 of my water fast. I haven't left my tent yet. It's 8:30 and energy levels have definitely been very low today. And otherwise I don't feel much different. So when it comes to my physical feeling, I definitely, feel like I haven't eaten in a long while. my brain, interestingly, I have this super slight headache that is consistent, but it's very, very slight and feels like it's on the outside of my brain. And yeah, I'm wondering, like, my body surely must have run out of glycogen stores, therefore I should be in ketosis mode, which is, I don't know for sure if that's true, but if it is the case, then it's fascinating that I don't feel categorically different. I have decided today that I'm going to break the fast on day 5, as I will have to be at work the following day. So I definitely want to make sure I'm, high energy again by that time, able to do work. And I'm going to break the fast with juices that I have at home. The crucial thing is that I need to get home, right, on, no calories for like, I don't know, 100 hours or something. And I don't think that's going to be a huge issue because I can always keep it easy. And, even though I'm low energy now, it's not like I couldn't get up and sprint if I needed to, right? I mean, the body is always able to, do much more than one is, feels like doing in the moment. That being said, a 5-day fast is definitely the maximum I wanted to do, because this is actually just basically a test for future, because I plan to do a 6-day water fast someday, so I wanted to fast for at least 4 days this time. My body feels like the same as if I were just to lay down for a couple hours after a normal day with food, and then things start tingling, and especially my joints, because my ankles and my knees have some healing to do, and then I definitely feel tingling there, and that's been going on for the entire day, yesterday as well and stuff. And so yeah, I am switching between napping and just laying awake here, and reading the book I very much enjoy, and that is very much How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger is definitely feeding into a newfound motivation to live more healthfully. In regards to food, it's definitely a help that there's no food around, that I have not brought anything with me, because that takes any kind of thought of breaking the fast right now off of my brain, off of my mind. I'm not thinking about food all the time. Like, there are phases, especially I think in the evening, yesterday and today, there have been phases where I definitely thought about food. After all, I'm reading a book about food as well. No, I'm just chilling fundamentally. I'm definitely low energy, and I'm looking forward to eating again, definitely. And I think I'm going to eat a lot in the days after the fast, since I have this huge caloric deficit. I'm just curious about how this all plays out. Day 4. Now we have a little change of plan here. Instead of leaving tomorrow, I'm leaving the camping grounds today. It is midday now, and yesterday I said that I wasn't feeling categorically different, but actually that wasn't true. I do feel categorically different, and that I feel very weak, and that's no different today. And the thing is, I don't exactly know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. So the packing up takes some effort. Drying the tent and packing everything up, and rolling everything together. And it took me probably 3 times as long this time than it does normally take me. I took my time, and it's really quite fascinating to experience how elderly people and people who haven't taken care of themselves very well must feel when their energy levels are just so low they can't really get anything done without taking pauses all the time. So that's kind of fascinating. The water has brought me through the night, and I actually that made me think, like, how much water should I actually drink? because I didn't only drink when I really felt very thirsty. My urine was relatively yellow, more yellow, more colored in general than normally. But that being said, I really, as I said, I'm just not experienced. I'm not sure how much water I should drink, whether the 1.5 to 2 liters I've been drinking per 24 hours thus far have been, enough, or, too much, too little. That's neither here nor there. I'm glad I have packed my stuff up now, and, I'm going to take it real easy on the bike ride home, obviously. I don't want to be, falling off my bike unconscious. That would be bad. And I'm going to go home, and I don't know when exactly I'm going to break the fast. It's good that I will be home, and then I can make the decisions independent of my energy levels, really. This night I was just so alert, and I could just read and think. When I wasn't reading, I was thinking, and I was thinking a lot about food, and definitely longing for food and healthy food, right? So that's good. But at the same time, I'm like, that's the question, like, where do I stop the fast? It's I think that, if the body knows what it has to do, and fasting is a prime opportunity to get healing done, healing tasks done that normally the body is not allowed to tackle, because there's this constant infusion of food that may be hard to digest, and that may be causing issues all the time, or injury through exercise or whatever. I set out to fast for 4 days, just as a test. But I don't want to make this about vanity, in that if I find that rationally my body really wants food, and I don't feel like my body is working on anything that it needs more time to work on, then I think it's the rational decision to break the fast. Right? There is a rational point. There is a specific point where it is best to break the fast, and it is important to neither stop the fast too early nor to prolong it for too long. Like, there's no benefit in that, because fasting is also not only rest, but it is also in a way stressful, in that the body has to, generate the energy it needs from fatty tissue, and has to do all kinds of weird things and mechanisms that normally are not in use. So fasting is both a resting state, but also a stressful state. So there is this careful balance that ought to be struck in regards to fasting, and this is why I start small, with only so many ants here, dude. I mean, one of the reasons that made me leave today was my tent was getting infested with ants, and apparently where the 3 zippers meet, there's a little hole, and that's where the ants came through one by one. The thing is, once they're in, they don't find their way out again. Yeah, that's why I start small with a fast, just 4 days. I don't feel sick, I don't feel any pains in my body. I just feel very weak. My calves, are just not very energetic, not very powerful. And so I'm curious how the ride home is going to be, but I think it's going to be just fine. I don't feel hungry at this time, so that's good. So I'm probably just gonna go home and lay down, but I'm gonna keep checking back with you. I've just made it home. This was one of the slowest bike rides I've ever done, and I felt really weak, and I still do, more than ever. So I'm going to take a rest now and to lay down. I'm glad that I came home safely, and it was a good decision, I think, to definitely come home today. So I'm glad about that. And at this point, I plan on breaking the fast in a couple hours, And yeah, so we're gonna see about that. So yeah, see you next time. All right, it's 4 full days since I had my last meal, and I'm going to break the fast now, even though I'm not actually particularly hungry, like I'm not really craving anything. The reason being is that I want to live again fundamentally. If you're fasting, if you're in such a severe caloric deficit, you really can't get much done. You really can't be very productive. And I want to be, energetic for tomorrow again, because I want to, go shopping for produce and, really start working again on things. And so I'm going to break the fast today to make sure that my body's readjusting to calories, to sugar, to carbohydrates over the night. And I'm going to break the fast with some juice. This is beetroot and ginger. So this is not particularly high calorie, but also not particularly low calorie, just the median. And I don't know if I'm going to eat any solid food today. I don't have any fresh produce in the house. That's the thing. But I do have some stuff that may be decent enough. I don't think that, refeeding is going to be much of an issue, because that's just my intuition. And my intuition about the bike ride actually, was that it's not going to be a big deal, and it wasn't. It was laborious. It was kind of a marathon, because I really was very slow. Plus there was a headwind, didn't make it easier. But I was right about that. I made it home safely, and so I trust myself when I think that refeeding is not going to be a particular problem. I would prefer refeeding with watermelon, because that's just super, super easy to digest and very delicious. But I don't have anything here, so here we go. Yeah, doesn't actually taste any different than if I were to drink it on another day. I think that is because I'm not actually that hungry. So I will keep checking back with you in a couple days, and when I am refed, if there are any insights, if I have learned anything. So until then, cheers. All right, this is 1 week after I broke the fast, so this is Friday evening. And looking back, I can say that it was definitely the right idea to break the fast that Friday, because I could immediately go back to the action, the living, right? The energy immediately came back. I broke the fast with a juice, and then followed pretty shortly after with some dried fruit and some solid foods that I had still laying around. It wasn't all too unhealthy, but looking back, definitely I can say that having bought a watermelon or some kind of very watery fruit like that, I mean, watermelon stores very well, and I think in that way, a large watermelon is really one of the most ideal foods to break the fast with, because it's so high in water. And you can just start eating that, and then eat as much of it as you want, and you will never going to have any kind of digestive issues. I wasn't actually really hungry. I didn't have these super strong cravings, which is suggesting to me that I wasn't pushing the limit when it comes to not eating a lot. And so the whole caloric deficit of this 2 weeks, I thought I would be binging, but actually that has not been the case. Over the past week, I haven't eaten a particularly high amount. So overall, it was a good experience. I certainly do think I would like to, try a longer fast in the future, just as I planned, a 6-day fast or maybe even longer. So thanks for watching.